Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm reading today for Leo energy. So you could be Leo Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, cross-watching. If you are interested in Leo energy and it resonates for you usually, then this reading might be for you. If not, you can check out other placements. Are you a bit angry about something, Leo? Or is somebody around you a little bit angry about something? I'm getting this kind of like, I'm saying anger, it could also be frustration, and it feels a little bit about being misunderstood in some way. It feels a bit like angry at like maybe like an institution, like you're thinking about your old school or people in your old school or like a workplace environment. It seems like, again, it feels really like a misunderstanding. So I got the King of Wands out. Now, actually, traditionally in the tarot, the King of Wands is Aries and the Queen of Wands is Leo. But I read the King of Wands as Leo and the Queen of Wands as Sagittarius because Aries is the Emperor and they already have a throne. So I don't know. I read it a little bit differently, but it works for me and it makes sense for me to do it that way. So if you want to flip it and reverse it, absolutely feel free to do so. And don't get too hung up about the gender on the cards either. Just flip it and reverse it if you're thinking that sounds like me, but I'm not just take it for the energy that's coming through. So the King of Wands being you, then it feels like maybe orchestrating some kind of maybe like a work meeting or a discussion. You feel a bit like, right, come in, take a seat, right? And then we have these energies that came through as well. So the King and Queen of Wands keep coming through. Now, this is typically for me, Leo and Sagittarius, or Aries Leo, take it as you will. They've been coming through just every time I shuffle. I keep seeing them and I keep seeing them together. Now, they are like counterparts in the tarot. So they can get along great. They can get along terribly. They're both very, very fiery people, normally quite outspoken. Sometimes they can come and butt heads, but sometimes they can really kind of be like a power couple. So this could be somebody that you get along with or not. And then you've also got this Queen of Pentacles. Now, the Queen of Pentacles is normally, let me just kind of discuss each card a little bit because there's a lot of character cards here. Like every single card that's showing for you from my own deck while I was channeling is a character. So the King of Wands is normally somebody who's it's like they used to be the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands is someone who's kind of like learning about something. Pages are always learning and discovering. So the Page of Wands tends to be very adventurous, but they're a little bit foolish. They're a little bit spontaneous. They don't really think things through. I see the Page of Wands as Aries energy, kind of Aries in discovery mode before they get to the Emperor, or the Emperor, who's having a new adventure. But it's this very, very fresh, new, excited, kind of almost like a childlike excitement, going on an adventure energy. So that's on the underlying. Underneath that is the King of Wands as well. You've got all these characters. So the Page of Wands tends to be, it could be like a teenager who's just kind of like going out and exploring the world on their own for the first time. They're going to make mistakes. It can be, like I say, it can even be somebody who's older, but they're going into a new phase of life where they've got something that they're really excited about, something new they want to explore. It might be a new skill, a new hobby. So the Page of Wands can come out for different reasons. The King of Wands, they used to be the Page of Wands, right? They've made a lot of mistakes. They've had a lot of trial and error. They've got to a position in life where they're still very spontaneous, fun, charismatic, magnanimous is coming through. I can't even say it. They're kind of a natural leader. So the person who's kind of like, hey, let's all do this, and everybody kind of follows them. It doesn't have to be a Leo. It's just the card carries Leo energy. But yeah, they're normally quite warm and fun, and you want to get close to them. They're almost magnetic. They've also, because they've been out there and they've kind of lived life and they've made those mistakes, they're actually quite good at holding back all that fire energy. So instead of being impulsive, they can be spontaneous, they can be impulsive, but they also have control over that. It's all about self-control, being able to manage that fire in their belly. So absolutely, they can throw all that energy at something if they want to and really kind of convince everybody to follow them, but they can also hold back. It's kind of like, just because this person fancies someone, it doesn't mean they're going to have an affair with them. If they kind of like, it's that kind of feeling of kind of, I know how I feel and I'm okay with it. You know, it doesn't mean I have to do anything about it. So the King of Wands, if they get angry, yes, if they choose to, they can express that anger, and they'll probably win in a fight as well, or win in an argument, because they've got that fire, right? But that fire can also come across as aggression and things, which would be the King of Wands in the reverse. And the King of Wands knows how to avoid that. Like the Page of Wands might be the one who to just strike out kind of without thinking. The King of Wands knows the consequences of that, so they've got that self-control. Okay, so that's explaining the King of Wands. In the upright, at least. King of Wands in the reverse could control through violence and nasty things like that, but he's in the upright, so we don't need to worry about that. Queen of Wands is, again, very magnetic, very charismatic, very warm, very engaging, probably can tell really funny stories. They're a bit more kind of wild and free and adventurous and out there than the kings, kings tend to be a bit more restrained, the queens tend to be a bit more open. But other than that, very, very similar energy, right? She's gone out, she's made mistakes, she's learned her lessons, and now she uses that fire constructively and in a focused way, which is interesting because you actually have, where are we? Focused down here. It's with this balances on one foot, dances on one foot focus. So this idea of kind of like, it's almost like doing yoga, you know, when you have to like really kind of control your core, and if you want to kind of like balance on one foot and kind of do that tree pose, you know, you need that core strength, and you need to focus on something so that you can balance, because if you kind of like look around, it kind of makes you fall over. So it's making me think of that in some sort of way. Oh, interestingly enough, underneath that is flexibility. So it could be that you're doing yoga or something like that. So Queen of Wands, we've got the Queen of Pentacles as well. Now the Queen of Pentacles is, sorry, I was just hearing uncooperative, but I think it was the Queen of Wands. It's like somebody's seen them as uncooperative, but they're not. It could be the Queen of Pentacles because I picked them up, but it felt like it was still referring back to the Queen of Wands, like I'd forgotten to say it. You know, like, because she's so wild, and, you know, it's like when a woman knows what she wants, and it doesn't have to be a woman again. Like when a woman knows what she wants and she's kind of very confident and strong-willed, you know, it can be seen as someone who's difficult, where, you know, the same traits in a man are kind of like, well, that's what a man should be. You know, just that kind of BS traditional thinking. It could be something like that coming up. Again, you've got this whole thing feeling about somebody who's been misunderstood. The Queen of Pentacles can be like a wife, a mother, a business partner. She's always got people who rely on her. She's connected to people who she kind of nurtures and provides for. So again, it can be like the kind of mother who always makes sure there's a warm cooked meal every night, or, you know, she goes out and works and gets the bills paid, or you know, she's very good at kind of like providing for people's physical needs. There may, depending on like what other cards come out around her, she may not be very good at the emotional side of things. She may not be very good at kind of like talking about things, but on a practical level, she shows up and she provides. Does depend on a full chart and the other cards that come out around her. Queen of Pentacles is normally great. She's normally as well very, very skilled. So where the King and Queen of Wands are all about controlling their passion and learning about passionate things and creativity, the Queen of Pentacles is more earthy and to do with things that are physical and things like money, food, like actual skills, like getting a degree, that kind of thing, and more of the realm of the Queen of Pentacles. So whatever she's in charge of, whatever she's looking after, she's normally kind of very, very, she's probably been quite hands-on at learning everything about whatever it is that she does. Now, it could be that these two are the ones that have come into conflict. So again, it could be, I read it as Sagittarius, it could be you, Leo. And I read this as Capricorn. So it could be that these two have kind of come to loggerheads about something. There've been an argument, there's been a misunderstanding. It feels like this person's kind of the, like, adjudicator, is that the right word? Like, because you've got this assessing card, so it's like this is the one that's kind of maybe having a meeting to kind of like get these two together. And then the Page of Cups can be an apology. So because the Page of Cups is between the queen and these two queens, I am seeing it as an apology between them. Like, you know, the first steps of figuring something out emotionally. The Page of Cups can also indicate Pisces energy. And again, with it being a page, it's all about exploring. And with it being cups, it's exploring emotions. So figuring out something emotionally, something that's new, something that's raw, something that's fresh, something that's tender and kind of vulnerable between these two. So again, it could be you know, getting these two together to apologize and kind of like open up the hearts again, something like that. On the underlying here again, you've got this other page, which again, Page of Wands, we've kind of spoken about that already, kind of learning about creativity and enthusiasm and passion, spontaneity, and kind of, you know, jumping in and making those mistakes so that they can learn from the experience. The Queen of Swords is here as well. Now, the Queen of Swords could indicate somebody who's legal. So again, if this is a work situation, this could be HR. She's kind of an advisor. It can also indicate somebody who's kind of like psychotherapist, but more of an analysis kind. She's not really like the King of Cups, who's this, you know, counselor. She's more like a let's look at this logically kind of person. The Queen of Swords is kind of the queen of conversation and discussion and thoughts. So again, she feels like whoever this is, and it doesn't have to be a female, like they're coming in as to assist with peacekeeping. You've got some stuff about peace, like here, peace. So it's like with it being that Libran energy, it's kind of somebody who can come in, kind of listen to both sides, you know, explain, act as that middle person, you know, in some kind of conflict. But again, it could be like HR or something like that. So that's what's going on in the underlying. That's what we kind of start off with. And again, the first thing that I felt for you was this kind of I want to burn it all to the ground and start again. So it could just be that moment of anger, right? Of I've been misunderstood. I'm really angry about it. Just because I want to burn it all to the ground doesn't mean that I should do that. I've got that self-control, right? And that self-awareness. I accept that this is how I feel about it. I accept my anger. I'm thankful for my anger, because my anger is also my drive. It's my passion. It helps me create change. It helps me to get things done. I find I've got a Sagittarius Mars placement, as has my eldest, who's in the room with me. And we find that kind of when we get angry, we have to do. So I hate cleaning and tidying. I find it like mind-numbingly boring, because I have all this like active energy when I get angry. I sometimes kind of like angry clean. Or we like to go out and have a walk or something, don't we? And have an adventure, which is very, very Sagittarius, very fire sign. You do actually have adventure here as well. So again, depending on your full chart, definitely go and check out your Mars placement, because your Mars placement rules what makes you angry and what you do about it. So depending on what your Mars placement is, that's going to help you to kind of redirect that anger into something that's constructive rather than destructive, if that's the case. And again, if you're not feeling angry right now, this reading is for like from now until the end of August. It's kind of like covering that time span. So just, it could be a heads up, like something's going to trigger you, Leo, like you're going to get angry. You're perfectly entitled to be angry, especially if like, you know, I hate being misunderstood, especially if like my intentions are misunderstood, which is making me think of Cancer, because Cancer had this thing about coming with good intentions. It's like if someone misunderstands your intentions and accuses you of something you've not done, that's a huge trigger for me. I see that as like a huge injustice. You know, it's like being accused of a crime that you've not done. It's like really unfair. So again, it could be that somebody's projected something onto you, like projected bad intentions onto you when you came not intending any harm, which again, I find that to be a huge trigger for me. So moving swiftly on, I heard a different shade. Now I don't quite know what that could refer to, the word shade. It could be that somebody's acting shady. I don't know if that's a term that people use kind of around the world, but where I'm from, acting shady means that somebody's acting a bit underhand, a bit nasty, you know, like a bit undercover. Can be when people kind of gossip behind your back. You might say they're acting a bit shady. So it could be something like that, but a different shade. Could be that you're doing something with like design, like painting walls, like you've painted your wall one color, or you swatched something and you're like, oh, I don't like that color, I'm gonna have to pick a different shade. Only Love Can Save Us Now. So your songs are Only Love Can Save Us Now by Kesha, Wicked Game by Daisy Gray, which is interesting because underneath Balancing on One Foot, I did notice you've got Crown Games, The Right Use of Power, and you also have Power here with Dear. So again, just like, again, the King of Wands in the upright is using their power responsibly. The King of Wands in the reverse is using their power irresponsibly. So again, the idea of being a very powerful person, like that kind of charisma that the King of Wands has is very powerful. It can be used as a tool, and it can also be used as a weapon. So being responsible with that attractive energy. It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. The King and Queen of Wands and the Page of Wands, any of the Wands characters, they do feel desire very, very strongly. They can be very physical, sexually. Again, check out your placements. You maybe want to look at Mars and Venus placement here, because they both kind of rule kind of sexual energy. So desire, again, I wouldn't say the King of Wands is foolish. They were foolish, right? They have learnt the lessons and become quite empowered, right? As has the Queen of Wands. People acting in Page of Wands energy are, you know, they feel that desire and they will do something foolish because they haven't developed that self-control yet. Or there's a situation that makes someone, I mean, the King of Wands can act foolish in certain situations, right? And this is something that, it doesn't have to be any particular sign or any particular person. All these energies affect us at different times in different situations. So even somebody who's got a lot of self-control, if they find themselves in a certain situation, they can act in Page of Wands energy. Again, but what's interesting is behind Page of Wands is this King of Swords, who's kind of counterpart to the Queen of Swords. Again, somebody who is ruled by logic and intelligence and information and facts. So logic and reason trumps emotional responses quite often, because a lot of the time when we act in a kind of knee-jerk way, it's an emotional response, and as soon as we get the facts and the information, we kind of calm down. So King of Wands under Page of Wands is actually quite a good sign. I got the word druid. It was kind of coming in with this card, so I don't know if like druid means anything to you. I'll kind of come back to that when I talk about this area of the reading. And the other song was Sin and Secret by Charlotte Lawrence. I Don't Want to Be Your Little Secret, which is, I got to clarify something at the end of the reading, and I still don't quite understand what that is. The only thing left from my notes is it was 1:33 on the timestamp in the afternoon, so it's 13:33. So watch out for repeating number threes. Threes to me talk about community, people, your social setting, you know. So I'm not surprised that there's so many character cards. I mean, every single card that came out is a character card. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people involved in whatever's going on for you, Leo. Right. You've also got from my own deck the Prince of Swords, so that's kind of like Knight of Swords, so yet again another character card. This is kind of like somebody coming in to take action, or somebody coming in with information. So don't jump the gun. If there's anything that's unclear, again, there could be a misunderstanding, so ask for more information, right? Assess the situation. You start off with Soul Guardian. Now the interesting thing is, when I was channeling your energy and I was kind of closing my eyes and channeling Leo energy, I did see a lion, which doesn't surprise me, right? Leo is the lion, but it was a very specific lion, and it was this painting that used to be in my grandma and granddad's house, and then I had it on my bedroom wall as a teenager for a long time, and I've got a photo of it here actually. It's a bit dusty, so this is me with my grandma, and you can see the kind of lion photo here. This is me with like the little ET, like 1980s, like grandma had knitted me an ET jumper, the little alien there, little starseed, but that lion in the background is what I saw, and at the time I was shuffling to get your cards, and I turned over the deck at the same time as I was seeing this lion, and this card here was here. It's the Lovers card in this deck. It just says love. It kind of looks like the Strength card as well, which is the Strength card is a Leo card, the Love card is a Gemini card, but you can see with this lion on it. And then over here, I think, is there another lion? No. The reading ends though with this other lion, so it's really interesting to me, and I like when that happens, when we get a lot of, like, you're Leo, we're getting all these lions, and I don't know, it seems suitable, but again, this kind of like frozen lion. Kind of pondering over it. So Yeah, you start with Soul Guardian because it felt a little bit like I was starting to think to myself, oh, was my grandma a Leo? I don't actually know what her star sign was. I need to kind of like find that out. It's something I keep meaning to do, and I don't know if I knew it doesn't. I don't retain the information. But as I was kind of thinking these things, Soul Guardian came out, the Avebury Matriarch came out. So Leo, I feel like there could be a grandmother figure who's acting like, or a matriarchal figure who's acting as a soul guardian for you. So this is somebody who's in spirit, kind of protecting you, looking out for you. You know, it could also be that somebody's protecting their soul, like their soul is safe. So take that if it's helpful to you. I don't kind of want to exploit anyone's grief or anything like that, but I find it reassuring when I get cards like this, so hopefully you do too. And so talking about kind of spirit guides, guardian angels, who's looking out for you, I do have this Angels Among Us and Goddesses Among Us deck. Maybe someone's playing Among Us. I'm hearing myself say it. It's like that computer game, right? It's like you get, maybe that's something. So Among Us is a computer game, if you're not aware, where there's all these little people on a spaceship, and well, they're not really people. They're like these little blobs. And one of them is a saboteur, and people have to vote for who's the saboteur and get them kicked off the spaceship. But you don't really know. And so people try and kind of blame each other, oh, I saw that person doing this terrible thing, in order to kind of not get kicked off and to stay on the spaceship for as long as they can. It's a bit like Wink Murder, if you remember that kind of parlor game. So it could be that there's that kind of situation. Again, it could be a work situation. It could be a family situation where it's like everybody's pointing fingers, nobody's taking the blame. Somebody sabotaged something, but they're feeling guilty. So they're like, I'm completely innocent. I came here with good intentions. Cancer, is that you? No, Cancer genuinely felt like they were coming with good intentions. So I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, this deck, so it does have a lot of deities from a lot of different religions. When I was doing the pre-shuffle, I did see a card that is just called the Priestess, which indicates you coming into your priestess energy, which is interesting because we also have the Seer down here as well, with Pachamama underneath that as well. So it kind of feels like your magic is a very earth-based magic. It could be that you've got a lot of earth in your chart. Maybe some major placements that are earth sign placements. Again, look at your Mars and Venus. That seems to be coming up quite a lot. So yeah, it does feel like you're coming into your version of your magic, which seems to be connected to animals and nature. Again, with that kind of druid energy. If you have any particular religious beliefs, or there's any kind of like resistance to any kind of deities, just try and shelve that for now, because and look at the energy of the card. So for example, Nike, what's being personified by this card is speed, strength and victory, which is very, very Leo actually. So even though you might not associate with Nike, who's a Roman goddess of victory, right, you may associate with the words. You may also associate with the character on the card. You may see something of yourself in this character, or it may remind you of somebody who's passed on, who was a loved one, maybe like something about the way they look. It could also remind you of somebody that you know in the physical, in real life, who could be helping you out at this time, kind of like spirit could be working through them. So again, don't get too hung up on the actual personification, the name, right, the deity. Think more about what the card is trying to say to you on an energetic level. But having said that, if Nike means something to you, maybe you've just bought a new pair of Nike trainers, maybe you work for the Nike store, then if that makes sense to you, take it however it resonates for you. Trust your high priestess energy in this reading. Who is helping Leo in August? Oh, happy birthday as well. It's Leo season. Check you out. I hope you're having a good birthday season. I hope you're getting spoiled and getting lots of presents. It's making me think of Monty Python, the Queen Elizabeth character. She's like, Pwezzies, have you bought me any Pwezzies? Where are my Pwezzies? My dad's a Leo. He used to love those sketches. Anything that was a bit satirical, he'd love that. Okay, what are we doing here? Come on. Who's around Leo this month? What's going on for Leo? What are you helping Leo with? Have my gods abandoned me? No, it's just... Hang on a sec, guys. Let me just focus. There we go. So we've got a little bit secretive there. So it's not I'm hearing holding back. I heard the words holding back. So it's not that your guides have abandoned you. He kind of looks like my dad, but with blonde hair. He definitely went through that phase. It's not that your guides have abandoned you at all. It's not that. It's that they're being a bit secretive. They're holding back. So again, it could be this kind of, somebody else had something very similar. I think it was Aries. It might be a fire sign thing this month where you feel a bit disconnected. It's like, have my gods abandoned me? Have my ancestors abandoned me? No, it's almost like they're waiting for something to happen, or they're waiting to see what you do in a situation, or kind of they're taking a step back to kind of, it's almost like growing out of the page of one's energy into the queen or king of one's energy. It's kind of like, let's see how they go on their own for a while. If they fall back into this, we can step in and support them. But while they're in this energy, we'll take a step back. We'll kind of like see how this goes. Could be something like that. But yeah, we'll read these cards at the end of the reading, the actual meaning of them. So Solis Minerva means life, nourishment, and water. Interesting, that kind of druid, because that's kind of, this talks about kind of when the Romans came to Britain, I think. And then Archangel Uriel. So you've got an Archangel, one of two signs to get an Archangel. So you're a bit special, Leo. We all know that Leos are a bit special. Illumination, inner power, and ideas into form. Again, you've got all this stuff about power too. So remembering your power. And then what are your guides helping you with, please, this month? Oh, that's straight away. No messing around with that one. I'm only going to take the top card because it's too much reading otherwise. So the card that is like the top card is this card, Snake Spirit, Time to Heal. So something that you're healing. Again, it could be healing relationships. You've also got Peacock Spirit, Let It Shine, Bobcat Spirit, Life is a Mystery, and the Abundant Universe will provide, Buffalo Spirit. So any of these could mean something to you symbolically. Perhaps this is something that you're going to be seeing around a lot. You know, you're getting maybe you've just got a snake tattoo, maybe you're getting a face peel, but snakes are all about transformation. You have all this butterfly energy as well, so there's absolutely something transforming in your life. Feels like a soul transformation, and you're going to go on to bigger and better things, like really stepping into your power. So congratulations. Snakes as well, the symbolism of snakes around medicine, because of course they're on the staff of not the Caduceus, what is it, Caduceus, not that one, the other staff, the medical staff. They both have snakes. So staffs with snakes, symbols of leadership and symbols of medicine. I mix the two up. But they're symbolic of both, right? Both of the staffs have snakes. It's just one has one and one has two. But that's, again, me getting hung up on my classics background. Soul Guardian. So again, it's like you do have protection, or you are protecting somebody else's soul in some sort of way. Very, very powerful card to start the reading. You then go into this kind of spending time out in nature energy, collecting things. It feels like almost collecting souls. So I am seeing it as you doing this, because this is looking to me, I was kind of like, when these two cards first came out, and again, I use a lot of different decks. I shuffle to kind of like make the cards fall out, and then I put them all back together and reshuffle and get the order of the reading. So nothing's kind of set up or anything like that. When these two cards first came out, I thought it made me think of how I sometimes see things like feathers as communication from my spirit guides. So I can be thinking about a certain person, and especially if I think of something really good and high vibrational, suddenly I find a white feather, and it's almost like my spirit guides are kind of validating those thoughts, like, yes, these are good thoughts to have. So as I'm kind of walking around, I do kind of pick up feathers. My cat is absolutely gone crazy for my feathers. Just trying to find a good one. So here's like, here we go. So here's like a little, I think this is like a little magpie feather. Sorry, they're a little bit dusty and cat attacked, but like little magpie feathers or whatever. So magpie feathers talk about balance, like balance of yin and yang, and things like that, like the balance of light and dark. So it could be something like that, or even just going around having a walk and kind of like picking up anything. Sorry, everything's dusty. Like picking up anything that kind of interests you, like little seeds, acorns, things like that. And I thought maybe it's kind of you going around seeing all these little kind of gifts from spirit, kind of picking them up and kind of, oh, that's a bad one. Bless you. So yeah, like going around picking up all these little gifts from spirit and kind of like keeping them in your pocket and being like, this is my little, oh, there's like a little white feather as well, look. Just a little sign. But because the Eight of Fire came afterwards, it's not invalidating that if that's your experience, because the Eight of Fire is about communication and action. So again, it's like this could be the way that you communicate with you guys through these little kind of keepsakes that get left in your path. But it's sort of changed it for me as because it's almost like these little orbs are looking to me like the souls, right? So it's almost like the gatherer of souls. So it feels like gathering people around you, especially if you are in that kind of like Leo King of Wands energy. It's almost like, you know how I said it's like magnetic. It's almost like people are drawn to you. So it could be this idea of like souls being drawn to you. It could be physical people, like people who are alive, who just feel that magnetic pull to you. It's like something in their soul makes them gather around you. Or it could be kind of spirits, you know, because then you get this abundance card. So it's almost like looking to me like these are the spirits approaching you energetically, and then they show up almost like animals or something in your environment. So you could find you kind of you know, animals are very, very drawn to you at this time. You could also feel, I don't know if there's something about like reincarnation here as well. Just something about like this deer, right, coming out of the kind of, sorry, my cat jumps up on the, makes everything dirty. This kind of Patronus, this kind of father energy coming into this reality as something that's personified. So it could be something like that, especially with transformation and the soul here, this idea of the transformation of the soul. It could be this idea of reincarnation and kind of like, it's making me think of a really silly episode of a TV show called Cuckoo, where this guy believes that the cat is his reincarnated wife. So it could be something like that, you know. An animal behaves like a person did, or you know, they seem familiar, or they just inexplicably, you know, attracted to you or something like that. But again, it's just talking about something very, very, it could be because your soul is so peaceful, or it could be that animals are helping you to find peace, right? Like to make your soul be at peace, be at rest. You know, how soothing animals are. But then because it's with this, it's like the combination of these energies, right? So they kind of came out in this order, which was giving me that kind of like druid feeling. It's almost like, because especially because Pachamama's there as well, which talks about being very, very in tune with the land, being in tune with nature. It's giving me that kind of like druid magic, like old earth magic energy, nature magic, if you like. So this could be something that you're practicing. This could be something that you're experimenting. It could be something that you're drawn to kind of very naturally, like it's already blueprinted into your soul. It feels very normal for you to do this, but like I say, it's got this kind of, and it can also be again like signs and symbols, like you and your guides have this way of communicating. So a squirrel will indicate a certain thing. So it might be, I see a squirrel and I know that I have to start saving money, because squirrels save acorns, right, for winter. So it's like, I need to save my money, I need to save my resources. If my spirit guides send me a squirrel, if my spirit guides send me a fox, I know that somebody's being very sly around me. So it doesn't have to be those things exactly, but you could have your own meanings attributed to certain animals, and then the way the animal's behaving as well could tell you a lot about kind of your own situation. But with this messenger of earth, I mean, the messenger of earth's very Virgo energy. It does talk about kind of it's almost like being a keeper of the animals. Maybe somebody's like a zookeeper, being a carer for things, having that responsibility to the people and the things around you, kind of showing up and nurturing, and what's the word that I'm trying to think of, like a sustainer energy. So it could be something to do with like sustaining your environment. It could be something like you're doing your garden, and you want to put in kind of like plants that are to do with sustainability, you know. So certain plants are really good for the soil, certain plants will pollinate other plants, you know, that kind of thing. So this idea of sustainability. But it's also looking like a leader, right? It's almost like the leader of the druids in some sort of way, especially because you then go to Avebury Matriarch. It's almost like, now I don't know if you're leading people to this person or place. It feels like a place. So like Stonehenge, right? Avebury is where Stonehenge is. So it's almost like this symbolic place. And like you're kind of leading this group of souls to this place in some sort of way, or you're becoming the Avebury Matriarch. There's definitely something about power and the transfer of power, especially something with that sun there as well. It's like almost like opening a portal so something can come through. So anyway, you get to this point where, and this card's abundance as well, which abundance with the messenger of earth, especially with like the action of the 8 of fire, it's kind of like your hard work paying off, or having some abundance and investing it wisely, because the messenger of earth is a very it's very long term. It's a very slow moving energy, but it does talk about sustaining things and things increasing, right? It's like wise investment over time. So slow, well thought out action, earthy, practical action. So again, it could be like, I've got some abundance. Where am I going to invest this? How do I make this grow? So you're coming up to whatever that is anyway. You're coming up to this choice point. I have different options. It seems like you have 2 options. It could be more. So I need to make a choice, but you're not running into it, right? You're approaching this choice point really slowly in messenger of earth energy, which is the messenger of earth has a plan, because they come after the page of earth, which is figuring out a plan. Messenger of earth is putting the plan in action. So you come into this very, very wisely, very slowly. You're not doing anything spontaneously. You're actually going to start assessing, right? So it does seem like you're going into this purple door. It's kind of like coming out of the yellowy door into the purple door, just because of the way that the cards line up. But yeah, assessing it. I want to have a look before I go through that door. What's through there? And what seems to be, again, the choice kind of, if we're going off the colours, that kind of yellow, gold, and the kind of purple, it seems like one door is the Avebury Matriarch and one door is peace. Could be that. But anyway, like the way that it's coming through is like peace followed by the soul. So it's kind of like, once your soul finds peace, you can have this transformation. Now I freaked out a little bit when these 2 cards came next to each other. The soul with butterfly and then transformation, which has this butterfly energy, like they came out like this next to each other. I was kind of like, oh my god, all those cards from all those decks and these 2 come out next to each other. It couldn't be clearer, right? You've got soul guardian and then the soul transforming. Butterflies obviously as well, symbolic of transformation. That's why the transformation card has this butterfly. You've also got this snake as well, right? Snake's a symbolic of transformation and growth and healing. So it does really feel like whatever's going on for you, like it's like the soul at rest seems to be an important factor in this transformation. I asked my eldest if they knew anything about druids. I thought they were going to tell me about like stuff they'd learned in school, but they were like, I play D&D. I know about druids. So apparently druids are this kind of like earth magic, nature magic, in D&D at least, and they have the ability to transform into animals. So maybe it is something to do with like reincarnation, soul transformation, transferring a soul between a human and an animal. It's a bit of a far out concept, but just throwing it out there because it's kind of, when I do these readings, they're always a little bit airy fairy, spiritual kind of thing. I do try and ground them in reality. If I was going to take away the kind of more spiritual aspect of this and talk about it on a more practical kind of day-to-day level, I would say that when you have a choice to make and you are done assessing it and you feel that sense of peace with the choice that you're making, then you're going to have this transformation process. It's like, because before you go through that door, you assess and then you're like, yes, I've decided this is definitely the course I want to take. This could be why the Queen of Swords is there. She would be connected to this assessing energy. She's like, let's look at this logically. Let's gather all the facts. Let's see this situation clearly. She wants to know all the facts before she makes a decision. She can't make a decision if she doesn't know the facts. That's this guy. And then the Queen of Swords followed by the Fool. Haha. So this is Aries energy. So this is kind of like this isn't just a spin of the wheel, a roll of the die. This is an educated gamble, right? This is kind of, I've assessed the odds. The odds are in my favor if I make this choice. So it's a logical risk, which actually behind that is happiness. So yeah, definitely bring logic into the occasion, do that equation, do that assessment. So yeah, it's kind of like, I'm not going to step through that door if I don't know all the information. Oh, I know the information now. Yes, it seems like the clear, favorable choice. I'm going to take a leap of faith. No matter what happens, I'm at peace with my decision because I won't have any regrets because I've thought this through really well. And then it's kind of like, because you've walked through that door, something's changing for you, right? Your life is changing. The way you navigate life is changing. Something about you at your core is having this transformation, and you're going into this adventure, right? So again, with this transformation, you're going to have a new experience. So it could be a literal physical adventure. Maybe you're going on a trip. Maybe you're doing something you've never done before. And again, this could be where the Page of Wands is here, because adventure is tied to the more younger inexperienced energies, right? So like I say, even like the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, when they go into a new experience, they go into it as a page because they're learning, right? They don't know what's going to happen. So there's nothing bad about the Page of Wands. It's just learning, right? So yeah, adventure south, it could be a spiritual adventure, right? It could be where is this new phase of my life going to take me? It takes you to power and prosperity, which is amazing, right? The deer and the peacock. You've got abundance and prosperity in one reading, so it could definitely be something about money matters here. Again, if you invest wisely, it's going to bring you, if this is a money thing, like with squirrels, if you invest wisely, you know, you are going to be more prosperous in the long run. And with money often comes power, right? It gives you the power of choice, the power of freedom to not be tied to a 9 to 5, for example. It could be something to do with, like, maybe you're starting up your own business. You really lay that groundwork properly. The business becomes quite successful. You become your own boss. You hire employees. You get to dictate your own hours. Do you see what I mean? But it's like, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, you really need to get that paycheck. You know, you really need to show up for that day. So I want to say there's something about personal power and that's attached to money for you. You then have this lost and found. Now, the lost and found is coming after the peace and the soul card. What was lost is about to be found thanks to the lost and found fairies. Sometimes she can help you find things you didn't even realize were lost. So you could be finding something that you've kind of forgot about. Again, maybe this is like a photo of a family member, like I had of my grandma this morning, or maybe it's you know, a piece of jewelry that you dropped in the garden, but you didn't realize you dropped it, and you're doing your gardening and you find it again, you're like, oh, I forgot about that. You know, it could be something that's tucked away in the back of a cupboard, and you're cleaning out the cupboard and you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that was in there. You know, I'm going to put that on display now. It could also be, because it's following the soul, it could be a part of yourself that you'd forgotten about, a part of yourself that had felt lost, especially if you've been going through a very turbulent period. I know up until, I think it was like the last reading, I had a series of really rough readings for you, Leo. I feel like Leos have had quite a tough time of it, especially like the impact when things happen to us, right? When things happen that are circumstantial, and we have to deal with it, it can really kind of like, I'm hearing knock us to our knees. So maybe that's something that you say. I'm getting this feeling of like going down on my knees. It's like I need to pray, you know, like the situation's so bad that all I can do is get down on my knees and pray. That could be, I'm really feeling something about my knees. And it's made me lose, because I felt it so strongly, it's made me lose my train of thought. Oh, and I just really felt sick. Oh, guys, yeah, you could have had a really rough time of it. And, you know, finally you know, it can affect our mental health and things like that as well. So when we finally come back into peace, right? Come back into groundedness, find that inner equilibrium again. We have transformed through that experience, and we can look back and say, wow, you know, I'm a different person now than I was when that experience began. So again, it could be something that you're finding about yourself, about your own ability to persevere or survive or adapt, which could be actually a very empowering, because it is followed by power. It's like you're finding your own personal power, your inner power. Yeah. I was just checking the cards if there was anything else on the underlying that wanted to speak. It kind of makes me think of Amazing Grace as well, which is so funny that it's like my grandma showing up as one of my guides in this reading, or at least to get me to talk about certain things. She used to play Amazing Grace on the piano. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. So it's talking about like, I think it's talking about God saving your soul, right? Having a almost like a religious experience. It doesn't have to be religious, but an experience that kind of makes you feel like your soul has been saved. I don't know. Makes you believe in things bigger than yourself. It could also be a cat. It could be a cat that you kind of lost, you know, where did my cat go? And it shows back up again and you're like, where have you been? It could be something like that. That actually did happen to my dad. He had a cat and it decided it wanted to move across and live with an older lady kind of in the neighborhood, because she would feed it and overfed it and fed it nice things. And my dad was out a lot, so I think the cat was like, I'm better off over here with this lady who like absolutely spoils me. So my dad knew where the cat was. Eventually he kind of like saw it and he was like, oh, that's where the cat is. And a number of years later, sadly the lady went into a care home and the cat came back to my dad. So obviously cats as well are symbolic of Leo energy, so if that's something for you. And then this is the card I was really puzzling about, because it's lost and found deep freeze. Is it something in your freezer? Did you put something in your freezer? Maybe check the back of your freezer, maybe defrost your freezer. Is there something in there? Like, you know, sometimes people put the credit card in a block of ice and then they put it in the freezer. So it's like, I can't just, if I got the urge to buy something online, I've got to like thaw out my card before I can use it. So it gives me that breathing space. It gives me the time to think rather than just impulsively purchasing something. It could be something like that. It could be something out in the garden that got like frozen over. I don't really understand why your reading ends with that, but I'm noticing the cat here is next to this water, and then this lion's next to this water here. It's making me think of Narnia, which again is so funny because, like I say, when I was a child, like a child to a teenager, that lion picture was in my bedroom. And I remember listening to an audiobook of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and how cruel the witch was when she sacrificed the lion. And I found it so upsetting, and I was listening to this audiobook and looking at that lion photo on the wall, and then of course like they bring Aslan, he's called, isn't he? They bring Aslan back to life, so it's almost like something coming back to life, something being revived. This is upsetting because my dad was a Leo, he died recently. Obviously he's not coming back to life, he's been cremated, but you know, the idea of like soul rebirth, I guess. I don't know why it ends like that. It's weird. And the song that I used to clarify this, so I randomized a song, I was like, explain this to me, was Sin and Secret by Charlotte Lawrence. I don't want to be your little secret. So let me just pull up the lyrics and maybe it'll make sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to me. I'm just the messenger, right? It says, wait, I'm having a moment where I've got to choose if I go or stay, which could be this making a choice. And I'm overflowing. I hate that it's detrimental to my mental state. Am I overdosing? Again, I was talking about mental state. You know I love to cry, but that don't mean it'll justify the last few nights. Yeah, I'm stuck inside this state of mind, where you can be the sin, I'll be your secret. Everything is steady if we keep it. I'm hanging on to the thrill, babe, if and when it'll kill me. Oh, you can be the sin, I'll be your secret. Taste the blood on my lips from the words I wish I'd say, but they go unspoken. I crave to get out of this limbo, deep freeze could be limbo, before I go insane. It got me screaming out your name. Will you keep me around no matter who knows? It's taking me down. These feelings get under my skin, but I don't want to listen, baby. I don't want to be your little secret. So take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. Maybe the number 26 means something to you. I'm just going to have to leave it there. But we will go to your spirit guides and kind of read what these guys are all about. And also we're going to read this Snake Spirit Time to Heal, which is what they're helping you with. 55 as well. So there could be something about the number 55. Watch out for repeating numbers. We've had 333. We've now got 55. Any of the numbers on any of the cards, if something jumps out to you, absolutely take it. It could just be something I'm overlooking. Right, okay. So we've got angels and goddesses. So I'll go to angels first. Number 4. Just kind of show you what that looks like if you're interested in getting that yourself. I really hope they do a Gods Among Us deck. I keep saying this. I'm like, I don't want to wait for it. Why can't I wave a magic wand and have it right now? Because like she does such good character design on the guys. Like they've all got this like big personality. And so she's done this goddesses deck, and I'm like, I need more of the guys. I need to have the balance between the masculine and feminine energy. Archangel Uriel's name means fire or light of God, and he's the angel that can help turn your ideas into reality. Archangel Uriel can help activate and open up the crown chakra so you can receive divine wisdom with more clarity and ease. He also helps to activate the solar plexus so you can take that wisdom and use it to make positive changes in your own life and the world around you. Just stopping on solar plexus because solar is like the sun, your ruling star, right? So your ruling energy is the sun. So solar plexus work could be particularly in tune with you. Archangel Uriel is a powerful angel to work with for those who identify as light workers. The solar plexus as well is kind of like mid-stomach area, kind of at the bottom of your ribs. So again, if you're kind of having a bit of tummy trouble, any kind of like anything going on in that area that's kind of causing you pain or tummy trouble, indigestion, it could be that you actually need to work on the chakra. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Go to the doctor about any tummy issues. My tummy's grumbling now I'm saying that. You know, go and seek medical advice first, but as complementary medicine, if you want to do some chakra work on your solar plexus, like I definitely recommend that. Same with like if you get a sore throat, it could be that you need to do some work on your throat chakra. There could be something that you need to say that you're not saying, all that kind of stuff. Archangel Uriel is a powerful angel to work with for those who identify as light workers. It's time to take action on the divine guidance you have been receiving. Again, like I feel like the universe has been sending you signs. Solis Minerva. I've read this one already this week. I like it when it's a different one. Someone else got this. Can't remember who though now. Okay. An amalgamation of two deities who were joined together during the Roman occupation of Britain, Solis Minerva became loved in her own right. She was born out of Solis, the Celtic goddess of water, the sun, and healing. So you've got two cards talking about the sun, right? The solar plexus and the sun. And Minerva, the Roman goddess of wisdom. Although Solis Minerva is often considered to be a water goddess due to her connection with the sacred spring and Roman baths in the town of Bath, Somerset, she's also, you've got Somerset and Avebury, so similar. I think I'm not the best at geography, but I think they're similar in terms of region. She is also worshipped as a sun goddess. Called upon in ancient times to bring healing, she was also invoked to bring ill to enemies. These feel like very Leo guides. I feel like it's your higher self. In this Aquarian age, it's wiser to ask Solis Minerva to help you focus on yourself and your own healing, growth, and power, rather than trying to take someone else's away. You can, of course, still ask her for her assistance in helping you clear and release any negativity that is sent towards you. Nourish, nurture, and heal yourself so that your light may shine out into the world in bigger, brighter ways. And just reminding you where you're heading if you have that soul growth. So again, if there's something that's gone on where, again, it feels like a misunderstanding where, you know, you got quite angry about it, we can hold on to those resentments, especially if Leo, especially if your ego's been damaged, especially if you're Leo Mars. If your ego's damaged, you're going to get really kind of salty, especially if you've got Scorpio placements as well, like Scorpio Mars. That was my dad. I think my dad has Scorpio Mars, Leo Sun. So, you know, really kind of, you know, it like pride being hurt and really holding on to those old wounds, old resentments. It's not healthy. It keeps you trapped in a cycle of I mean, my dad wasn't really like that from what I remember, but it keeps you trapped in a cycle of, it keeps you attached to the thing that is making you low vibrational when we don't allow ourselves to forgive the situation. So when I say forgiveness, it's not that you're letting this person off the hook. It's that you need, it may not even be forgiveness so much as it is just kind of like letting go, or think of it as kind of cutting the tie to the situation to set yourself free. Because if you have those lingering resentments, that situation still has power over you, and it's going to keep pulling you down. Where sometimes you have to kind of like, it's making me think of like, you know, sometimes when, like in an action movie, you know, will have a rope around them, and it'll be tied to something heavy, and the thing will kind of like fall off a cliff or over a ledge, and the rope starts to pull that person down. It's like if you don't release yourself from it, you're going to fall down as well with that heavy thing. So cutting the rope and kind of like freeing yourself from that heavy thing will stop you from being dragged down with it, and it'll let you move on and kind of like do what you want to do. It'll give you your freedom. Interesting symbolism. Okay, so snake spirit. What number is that? 55. It has a similar feeling, like this shedding of the skin, right? This like taking something off to free yourself from it. All of us need healing at times, and when snake spirit appears, it's time to repair, renew, and replenish yourself and your vulnerable heart. Self-care and maintenance work are needed so that your vitality can arise. Give yourself the space to nourish your own well-being. Vulnerability is necessary for friendships and partnerships to work, which means for all of that, okay, that's vulnerability. That's opening up and being vulnerable and saying, hey, this is how I feel about the situation. Hey, you know, I really want you back in my life, but I'm really angry about what you said. Like opening up emotionally and saying those hard things is vulnerability. But that's the beauty of the Page of Cups. Vulnerability is necessary for friendships and partnerships to work, which means all of us will have tender emotions at times. Be gentle with yourself and others now. Shed the past and step into a new way of being, for vitality is rising in you. This might be a good time to honour the work you've done to heal, grow, and repair any damage within you, within those you care about, and within your community. Again, that 333 energy. Celebrate together how far you have all come in your healing journey. I mean, you've got a lot of characters here, definitely other people involved, and all that you've created. Unburden yourself of anything that no longer supports wellness, prosperity, positive relationships, and well-being, and open the door for healing to occur. Okay, cool. Let's get you one more song to close out the reading, and then we're done, and we're out of here, Leo, and you can go and carry on celebrating your birthday. Clarify for Leo. Bring clarity. Dark Horse. I told you got that witchy energy. What's going on with you? Dark Horse by Katy Perry. I knew you were gonna come for me, and here you are, but you better choose carefully, because I'm capable of anything. Make me your Aphrodite, make me your one and only. That's Leo Venus placements, but don't make me your enemy. So you want to play with magic? Boy, you should know what you're falling for. Baby, do you dare to do this? Because I'm coming at you like a dark horse. Are you ready for a perfect storm? Because once you're mine, there's no going back. A bit possessive, just be careful. Mark my words, I'm getting a hand on my back again. It's kind of like, I've got this feeling of like a supportive hand that keeps on coming on and touching my back on the left hand side. Keeps on happening, especially when I'm doing readings, and it's happening again now. Mark my words, this love will make you levitate like a bird without a cage, but down to earth. If you choose to walk away, don't walk away. Give people the freedom. You wouldn't like to be trapped in something you wanted to walk away from, just like I was talking about that rope, right? I was talking in one of the other readings about it was coming through like, I'm going to kind of close out the lyrics, but you can go and check out that song if you want to. I was talking about something in one of the other readings about spell work and what's healthy and what's unhealthy. And it felt like someone had paid someone to do a spell on someone, but it didn't feel like it was for good reasons. So, uh, my I mean, I don't see myself as a witch, but when I'm kind of like manifesting things, my kind of like rules are you don't ever mess with anyone else's autonomy. So things like love spells are out of the question because, you know, it's wrong to force somebody to love you. And also it's invalidating, right? It's what does that say about you if you have to force someone to love you? I don't think you really love yourself in that situation. It's not healthy and it's not real, right? So why would you want something that's not real? It's just you'd always know that it was a trick. You know, that person doesn't really love you. It's not healthy for either person. So anything that's to do with messing with anyone else's autonomy is out of the picture for me. Um, Also, if you're wishing bad things upon others, if you're wishing ill upon others, karma comes back around eventually, right? And if you don't account for it in this life, maybe you're going to account for it in the afterlife or, you know, your next life. So don't bring bad karma towards yourself. If you think you're kind of getting away with it, if you think you're clever, kind of doing spell work, that snake's going to come back around and bite itself on the ass. So, um, it's been coming through a couple of times in this set of readings, and I just want to kind of like remind everybody to when you wish ill on others, you actually wish ill on yourself because what you think about, you bring about. And if you want to continue down that path and see where it leads, then I'm not stopping you, but I would advise against it. So and also, like, you may have powerful spirit guides, but you don't know who you're messing with. Like, that other person may also have a very powerful spirit family around them. So you definitely don't want to you don't want to kind of, I just don't think it's a good idea to go down that route. So anyway, but it's a very hot song, right? I love that song. There's a reason why it's on my playlist. Make Me Your Aphrodite. It's really cool. But again, just watch out for any possessive tendencies. Make sure you do give people the freedom. It's kind of like the idea of kind of you don't have control over somebody else, right? So I talk about my cat. I respect my cat because it stays here because it wants to be here. It has the option to go, you know, and it's when it chooses to come and give me hugs and snuggles, I'm blessed, right? Because it's chosen me, which is more powerful than forcing it to be where I want it to be, which is just not healthy. Anything else for Leo going forward? Okay, what do we have? Starman and Mars. Ooh, Aquarian energy and then Mars. Someone could have an Aquarius Mars placement. I mean, Mars, absolutely. Really been talking about Mars a lot. This kind of anger, but also motivation energy. And then Starman, very high vibrational. Like I say, it's very Aquarian. So it's, if you think about your id, your ego, and your super ego. Starman is like super ego for me, so it's kind of the future of humanity, our higher self. Very very much about like physics, sacred geometry, uh, improvements in technical things, improvements in medicine. So yeah, put that anger to good use and do something high vibrational with it. Do something starseed with it, right? I hope that's helpful. Do take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.